This is a proud production of ITM Media. Good day to all the Rambling About Racing fans out there in Rambling About Racing Nation. Here for another episode of Rambling About Racing. Heads up, straight up, if you were looking for the Willie T. Rib interview, that had to be postponed due to circumstances outside of everybody's control. But that's all right because we got, three out of the four crew members here. Myself, Matt Beamer here, joined by Charlie Hercus, and back after his long hiatus off from the show, Preston Lood. Three out of the four members of the crew here. Crack a beer open with us if it's a appropriate time and place, and ramble about racing with us after a long, good weekend, I have to say, at the Auto Club Speedway for NASCAR, getting ready to head over to Sin City, Viva Las Vegas for the Las Vegas races there for the Truck Xfinity Cup, and Preston's wheelhouse coming up here, Formula One from Bahrain. But before we get started in any of that, gentlemen, how's it going? It's been a couple weeks since you guys have been on. What's been going on? We'll start off with Preston.
Everything's well. Allergies are killing me. It's that time. It's a problem when you go outside and it looks like it's somebody's burning something. It's very smoky looking, and it just turns out to be a bunch of pollen in the air.
Yeah, or you drive a red vehicle and it looks like it's a yellow vehicle.
Well, in my case, you drive a black vehicle, and it really looks yellow.
You know what I mean. It looks like a yellow vehicle, man. It's affecting everyone. I know it's been crazy, but but how else is everything? How's the family? How's the wife? How are the kids, Preston?
Oh, the kids are great. They're just chugging along. The youngest is speaking way more than usual, which is fine. But bosses me around these days, so that's I guess that's the life of having two girls. They just tell you what to do.
It almost makes sense right there. They're gearing up for becoming a wife one day, I guess I should say. And that's not a bad thing. That's just the nature of the beast right there. But okay. Enough about that before we get ourselves in trouble here. Charlie Hercus joining us from South Alabama. Charlie, how's it going there?
Going good. So I'm kind of like Preston there, struggling with the pollen right now. So it's like you woke up one morning, it wasn't there, woke up the next, and it slaps you in the face. So
springtime hit everybody hard from what
somebody needs to put the groundhog out of commission. So just waterboard him till he tells the truth for once or something. So, but nonetheless, going good. Glad to be back on the show for the first time in a few weeks here. So, but busy with ball, and it's that time of the year.
All right, nice.
Emma's back playing ball, so it's our first year out of t-ball into actual softball. So it's going big learning curve this year. Instead of going to one of the better players, she's back on the low end of the totem pole. So big learning curve this year, but she's picking it up. So
good.
We'll get there. So other than that, doing good. Glad to be back on the show.
Yeah, definitely glad to have you back on here, bud. I missed you both, and I definitely miss Austin. I think, according to you, Charlie, he's sick with he has a couple of kiddos right there who are not feeling the best right now. So family first here on the show. He's got to take care of that. So unfortunately, Austin will not be joining us here this week, but I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm glad you guys are doing well, and I hope everyone's doing well out there in Rambling About Racing Nation, whether you're on your regular podcast platform or on watching this on YouTube. Really do appreciate you taking the time to stop by and listen to us chat up about racing in this past week at Auto Club. and we might as well just not waste any more time. You guys ready to get into the weekend review and preview for coming up weekend? Got a few questions to ask you guys. I'm sure you got a few to ask us. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Folks, before we continue on with the start of Season 5 of Ramblin' About Racing, I wanted to remind everyone out there about our online stores at Teespring and Bonfire, where you can find the latest and greatest Ramblin' About Racing gear, such as t-shirts like the one I have on, hoodies, hats, or anyone but lineup exclusively at Bonfire, and so much more. Pint glasses for your beers and everything like that. Just head over to ramblinaboutRacing.com under the stores tab, and there you can find the links to both Teespring and Bonfire. Every purchase will help out Ramblin' About Racing, bring you better content and hopefully more content at tracks around the country later on as we get there. So head on over to ramblinaboutRacing.com. Links can also be found in the YouTube video below or on your podcast subscription on your regular podcast platform below. Again, all proceeds help out Ramblin' About Racing, bring you better content in the future.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
And hey, man, here always on Ramblin' About Racing, presented by Devos Outdoor Lining. Head over to ramblinaboutRacing.com under the sponsor tab or devosoutdoor.com. Use code Ramblin' for 10% off of your Devos Outdoor equipment and all your outdoor needs there. But all right, so we're going to go ahead and get into it here. Auto Club Speedway this past weekend. We're going to just hit it off right here. Kyle Busch scoring his first win with Richard Childress Racing. And crazy enough, the first place that he raced, it won a victory in the Cup Series, was there in Fontana with Hendrick Motorsports. What do you guys think of that? I mean, right out of the gate, he wins the race. I mean, if I was Joe Gibbs, I know what I'd be thinking, but I'm curious to know what you guys thought about that right off the bat.
I'm with what Chase Elliott said. You know, why be surprised? Like he's a phenomenal driver. He's not in horrible equipment. He's just with a team that has struggled, so to speak, in the past few years. And, he's that puzzle piece that you dropped under the kitchen table that you finally found 3 weeks later. And, to put it that way, and they found it in Kyle Busch. And I hate to tell you, but it's only going to get worse from here for everybody else. So, really and truly, Larson and Elliott said it best. Like he's going to be tough to deal with this year.
I think so as well. I mean, him coming out of the gate like that and winning. I mean, he had all eyes were on him at Daytona, looking to win. And we'll get more into that because I know Preston has a few things he wants to talk about as far as what happened after Daytona since he wasn't here for this.
Yeah, and he wasn't slow out in California either at the Clash. So, I mean, he's been fast every track so far.
He has, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do coming up here. But Preston, what do you think of Kyle Busch's victory there at Auto Club this past weekend?
We are witnessing the rebirth, I guess you could call it, the career rebirth of Kyle Busch. He's with a new team. Everybody seems to not hate him anymore all of a sudden. It's kind of weird. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. I, for one, actually kind of enjoy this. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if it's just because he was at Joe Gibbs Racing for so long, but yeah, I feel like this is, like Charlie said, this is something that it's only going to get worse from here. Everyone's going to have to deal with it now. Kyle Busch at this point, I mean, I know it's early to tell in the season, but with him being up front at the Clash and up front at Daytona and up front and winning at Fontana, might be a force to reckon with with the championship. I know. I mean, it's early to say, but I mean, still, like I said, we're witnessing something. It's like a whole new Kyle Busch, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's you took the words right out of my mouth there, Preston. When it comes to Kyle Busch, we all knew he would be competitive at some point in the season in this Richard Childress racing machine. We just didn't expect all the gears to connect right at the perfect connection right there and everything to gel so fast with that new team. I know I was surprised when he won, is in the sense that he's with a new team. It usually takes people and organizations to gel, but I think right when he stepped into there at Welcome North Carolina and was in the doors of Richard Childress Racing, he took control. He said, "This is what I want: a good competitive car to win races and win championships back for this organization." Because the last championship for Richard Childress was Dale Earnhardt. I mean, that's the legacy that Richard Childress is built on. But now it's going to be built on the shoulders of Kyle Busch to move that forward and continue that, because he's not going to retire anytime soon. I think he's got a good 5-6 more years in the Cup Series. And with that, I think he could surpass, if the stars align, I think he could break that unbreakable number of 7 by Childress, Earnhardt, and Johnson. Too early to tell, but I think, I mean, not even just Kyle Busch is doing well. Austin Dillon speed is back up as well. That whole team has taken a 180 from a year, 2 years ago, and now is a competitive team. They went from a C team to an A- B+ team.
Yeah, somebody else said it, and it may have been Boyer, some talking about winning championships. And they were referring to Kyle Busch, but they referenced Johnson. Johnson won the majority of his championships when he was in his 30s. Well, guess who's in his 30s right now? Kyle Busch is in his prime. And I think this is his momentum, maybe his pep talk that he needed, or something like that, his humbling experience that he needed. So, and I think that I hate to say this, but because I hate the guy and I don't like him, don't care nothing for him. But I think Denny Hamlin sees the same thing coming, and this is the reason why he saw him start his own team. So, and I know I'm getting way off track with this, but this is the same reason why Denny Hamlin starts his own team and will inevitably start driving for his own team. He's got to have a way out of Joe Gibbs. So it's been a downhill slide for Kyle Busch the past couple of years at Joe Gibbs. And I think he saw it coming, to be honest with you. So regardless of whatever attitude Kyle Busch has had, he's had the same attitude for years now. So it didn't just stop somehow or another. So he saw it coming, and I think this is that humbling experience that he needs. And I'm gonna tell you, this is a different Kyle Busch that everybody's dealing with. He seems happier in interviews, so he's gonna be rough to deal with.
So, I mean, would it be safe to say, just from what you said, Charlie, that you think the whole Joe Gibbs organization is Titanic, and Kyle Busch found his lifeboat, Denny Hamlin's climbing into a lifeboat as we speak right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is what we talked about towards the end of our last season doing this show, with Joe Gibbs kind of, or JGR or whatever. I don't want to say tanking, but leaning the wrong direction. putting all their eggs in the wrong basket, so to speak. So, yeah, Truex has had a good run at the beginning of the year and had a decent run, maybe to 500 or whatever. But how's the rest of his season going to go? How's Hamlin's rest of the season going to go? So time's only going to tell. So how that theory kind of plays out.
Yep, I have to agree with you right there. I think a lot of people have seen the writing on the wall with Joe Gibbs Racing. Something's happened in that organization for the past number of years, and I don't think it's never just one thing that takes an organization like that, a winning organization like Joe Gibbs dominating like 2020 with Hamlin and 2019 and 2017 and 2018, all those dominating seasons, something changed. And then that triggered another change, and it just snowballed from there to where we're at, to where Joe Gibbs Racing's at now, in the position of, well, they lost a driver in his prime, and I bet Joe Gibbs was sitting there on the pit box of either the 11, 19, 20, and wondering how did he get away, and his grandson, the 54. I was thinking 18, but I knew it wasn't 18 anymore. He was sitting on those pit boxes going, uh-oh, I let him go. And if the trouble with sponsors, well, clearly it wasn't, because Richard Childress secured several sponsors for him.
Correct. Three Cheese stayed on board regardless of knowing that Kyle Busch was coming to Richard Childress. Lucas has jumped on board. As far as I can remember, I don't think Lucas was, Lucas may have been somewhat of a partner with Richard Childress, but wasn't a primary sponsor by no means. So I just don't see where it was a sponsorship issue or a trying to find sponsorship issue as much as it was I just feel like this is what I want to do, rather than let's just let him go so I can do what I probably shouldn't do, rather than what I should do as an organization, as a business.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense right there. You got anything else to add about that one, Preston?
No, Charlie pretty much hit everything on the head. I mean, let's be real. Denny Hamlin's going to move on. It's already been talked about. The questions have already been asked to 2311. I can't remember who came out and said it, but they did confirm for sure that a third car will be showing up in the future, probably 2024, maybe at the earliest, maybe another season. I don't know what Hamlin's contract situation looks like, but they did say that the third car will be showing up. So I'm assuming, like Charlie said, Hamlin's going to be driving for his own team, and then what's that going to leave at JGR? Who's going to be there? Because I don't really foresee Martin Truex staying around much longer. Christopher Bell will probably be the new flagman, anchorman, whatever you want to call it, of JGR. I don't think it'll be Ty Gibbs anytime soon. I think Christopher Bell will be the one leading that pack. He looks like he's pretty darn good so far out of the JGR cars that there are. It's only a matter of time. I think when Hamlin moves over, he's gonna be going through a phase just like Kyle Busch is right now, and it's Hamlin's gonna find a new life again.
Yeah,
and I would almost agree with you about the Christopher Bell thing, except for the fact that little Gibbs is there now. So I think that now that Ty Gibbs is on board full time in the Cup Series, I think that now if Christopher Bell is offered the right spot, say a third full time ride at Trackhouse, or a third, some team like that, or some situation like that, I see Christopher Bell out at Gibbs as well.
I could see that. I mean, the stars have to align on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. All right,
It almost,
absolutely.
it almost reminds me of in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, I would dare say mid 90s, the team to beat was Roush Racing. Roush Racing grew into a 4-car organization in the early 2000s with the likes of Jeff Burden, Mark Martin, and a few other drivers right there. You had your developmental drivers like Greg Biffle and all of them. But then all of a sudden something changed, and it's never a big change. It's always little incremental changes that snowball into this.
Exactly. Snowball effect. You took the words out of my mouth.
And then we're going down from a 4-car to a 3-car team.
3-car to a
No,
2-car.
going from a 3 to a 2-car team. And then you struggle, and then 10 years down the road, 12 years down the road, a driver like a Brad Keselowski comes up and says, I want to put my name on this and buy 50% or however much he bought of the company and be a driver owner.
After somebody like Fenway has already bought into it.
Right. And that's the situation I think Joe Gibbs is looking in if they don't correct their issues right now. I mean, I think you got to be blind if you're within the organization of Joe Gibbs and saying something's wrong. We lost M&M's. We've lost Kyle Busch. This is not going well. Truex is going to be out soon. To your guys' point, to especially Charlie's point, Hamlin's already looking at an exit strategy for all purposes. And then you got Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell, two relatively young people, especially Ty Gibbs. Who's going to invest in that?
It's almost like Gibbs is trying to pull a Hendrick move and get a bunch of young guys in there, but way, 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 way too early. Hendrick has a overall young stable with the 4 drivers they have, with who Larson being the oldest of the 4 right now. I get that, but Larson's been in the game for a while now.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're rushing for Ty Gibbs to be the stable leader at Joe Gibbs Racing, if that makes sense.
It would seem like it would, but at the same time, that would be a poor business move on the part of Joe Gibbs.
Well, it hadn't seemed like they made the best business moves as of lately.
You're right. And one of the best business moves up to this point that Richard Childress has made is hiring outside the family and not putting all of his eggs in Austin Dillon's basket. Because right now, I don't care what the situation over there at Richard Childress Racing is. Austin Dillon is backup driver.
Absolutely.
To Kyle Busch.
He is secondhand.
But I mean, that's the situation right there. I mean, that kind of snowballed from the victory of Kyle Busch's at Auto Club. But now we get into this, and I want to bring this up before I know Preston has some topics he wants to bring up. Auto Club Speedway not hosting a race in 2024 due to reconfiguration. However, everybody on social media has stated that this was a good race. Why reconfigure it? I think that it's already set in stone that it's going to be reconfigured. They already sold some land that the track did around there. So I think events are set in motion that can't be stopped. Is this because Auto Club produced a good race and now we're seeing something that is one of those situations is you don't know how good it is till you lose it? That's the situation I feel like we're in right now with Auto Club. What do you guys think?
Preston, you go first on this one.
Yeah, there's somebody go.
Well, yeah. I didn't know who wanted to go first. So you have to look at it like this. So somebody brought up a good point that the first few years of racing at Auto Club were very boring. It was more of like a single groove racetrack, and then as the years went on, as the asphalt started to wear out, the grooves started to expand a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. At a point now where the track has sealant on it, it was taught. Somebody mentioned that even if they wouldn't have decided to make the move, it was gonna have to get repaved at some point. The track was the asphalt at least was there's going to be a hefty price to lay down new asphalt all over again. So I don't. I think it sucks that we're losing it. I don't think it's really it's a late thing. It's too late for it now. I think we had to evolve over the years between the asphalt wearing out and then the cars that were being brought there. And especially now, the last few years, the races have been pretty good, kind of leading all the way up to just the other day. So, as far as and I don't know, I don't know if I'm the only one that sees this, but as far as reconfiguration goes, I was on board when they said something about it, but right now I'm not really completely sold on it just yet. I really have a bad feeling that they're not going back there to begin with. On a show on NASCAR radio earlier in the week, so I don't know if somebody had called in or what, but somebody had said, and also I kind of pulling this from an article, but all the land that NASCAR sold to real estate was a lot of money, and NASCAR is going to turn around and use that money to put it back into the product. So why would NASCAR turn around and use money to reconfigure the track and everything when they can just throw it back into the product? And that right there doesn't sit well with me, and that's why I think that, because we haven't really heard a whole lot about what's really going to happen with the reconfiguration, hence why they say there's not going to be a race even happening there next year. I think NASCAR's still kind of working some deals, because they sold about close between half and 3/4 of the land in total to real estate. I don't really foresee them actually doing what they said they were going to do now, because like I said, we haven't really heard a whole lot about it.
Right. And when it comes to stuff like this, Preston, and I'm sure Charlie will agree, you will agree, and a lot of our viewers and listeners will agree, that when a race is boring to the point where it's just single file, you could take any race from any decade, any time period, I feel, and say this is boring. Well, what can we do to make it better? The fans wanted more short tracks. Well, we're going to reconfigure it into a short track. We're going to bring the LA Coliseum in. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But then when fans lose a track like Auto Club, and we can even go further back, a club like Chicagoland Speedway, a track like North Wilkesboro when it was off the schedule after the 92 season, a track like the Rockingham after the 2004 season, you lose it, and then all of a sudden you sit back and realize that was good racing. And not every race is going to be bumper to door at the final line, or else then it wouldn't be interesting. Then you want to see something different other than that. You want to see a Kyle Busch winning by 4 seconds or anything like that. And I think a good example would be, too, Preston, with Formula One starting up here this weekend. You have drivers like Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Well, when Lewis was winning, you wanted to see something different. And then when something different happened, and then it happened again, it's like, well, no, I don't want to see Max Verstappen win. I don't think race fans in particular, any sports fans whatsoever, but especially race fans, will ever be satisfied with 100% with what's on the track as far as entertainment. Not everyone will. And in NASCAR,
No, not at all.
And then over the years, NASCAR makes these changes like, okay, we'll reconfigure Auto Club Speedway. We'll add in a Chicago Street Course. We will take away this track to add this track. We'll take away 2 Dover dates and add 1. We'll do these things. And then all of a sudden, NASCAR fans are up in arms. How can they do that? It's like, well, you told us to. And so I think this is just one of those things where from the track opened in 97 and all the way up to this year, and maybe the past 4 or 5 years, NASCAR's been hearing nothing but negative comments about Auto Club Speedway. Changes happen. This is what fans wanted. This change is going to happen. Now we're not happy. Well, what do you want, race fans? I think NASCAR needs to run the show. Yeah, NASCAR needs to run the show. And they say, you don't like this track. Oh, well, this is the market. We're gonna be here in Los Angeles. We don't need an LA Coliseum. We have the Auto Club Speedway. We're gonna bring back Rockingham. If you don't like it, oh well. We're gonna get rid of Texas Motor Speedway. Sorry, Texas. Yeah, it's just not.
You're completely right. I mean, let's be real. I myself didn't really see any problem with Auto Club over the last few years. Are you kidding me? Who would say no to a track that has about 4 or 5 different racing lanes? You got guys running the white line, some guys even hitting the apron in 3 and 4. You got guys running near the wall. Who doesn't like anything like that? Guys are sliding up in front of each other. I mean, you're right. NASCAR just needs to take control of the situation, but also, I don't know, maybe, I don't know everything that goes on across the nation. I don't know what everybody likes in the Midwest or in the West, but to me, I don't really think there's much of a market of NASCAR in California. That's just me. I don't know if it's because everything costs a lot more in California. I mean, when they went to the LA Coliseum, I didn't see that many people than, compared to last year.
But
Maybe
it
there's
was
just not a
sold
market
out,
out
Preston.
that way, What, the Coliseum?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, it's like trying to force some people to do something they don't want. You can't force me. You can't offer me tickets to an NBA playoff game and expect me to have a good time. I can't stand basketball. Can't stand the game whatsoever. You hand me a ticket to any NASCAR race.
You don't like LeBron?
I don't care for
He's the GOAT.
I don't care about any basketball team.
Just kidding. Larry Bird would wax his ass.
I don't know I know who they are, but I don't care. I really don't care. Just like people don't care about racing. However, back to our point here, Steve Phelps. I think this is a product of Steve Phelps again, chasing those fans.
Larry Bird would whip Steve Phelps' butt in basketball too.
Leave basketball alone, Charlie. Leave basketball alone. We're not talking basketball here. But Steve Phelps, when he says chasing 10 fans for, or 1 fan for, and letting go of another. It happens every year. We see it on the comments. We see it on the Facebook post. I talk to people every day. It's like, I was a NASCAR fan up till this point when Jeff Gordon retired, when this driver retired. You want to retain fans? Quit chasing new ones and trying to create markets like California. Sonoma's a great racetrack. If it goes away, bummer. But then add back in Road America. That place is always sold out.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're saying you like a road course?
I'm saying trade one road course.
I thought you didn't like road course racing.
I'm not a big road course racing, but trading.
Oh, but you like Snow. Okay. All right. I'm gonna mute my mic again. Hang on.
All right, you mute your mic there, Charlie. But that's all I'm saying. I mean, Auto Club's gonna be missed. I'm gonna miss it. And there's nothing we could do about it now. Oh well.
I'll miss it for sure. That's probably in my top 5 favorite tracks that they would go to, honestly. But like you said, to your point, they're chasing Steve Phelps, chasing different, bands, markets, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, that's just the product that's been created. I think they're just trying. I'm pretty sure I've brought it up before. I think they're just trying to create. They're trying They're trying to make it like other sports when in reality they just need to stick to their own thing. You know, this is racing. This isn't, this isn't baseball or basketball, creating all these different drama moments, or trying to, at least. This
Right.
is racing. This is a whole different thing.
It is. I agree, and we've beaten the dead horse several times on this show regarding this, and we're just going to continue to until something until they put all three of us in charge of NASCAR, which long shot, but it could happen one day. But
I think we could make it great
Well,
again.
when the position opens, I will definitely apply.
I've applied to several positions in NASCAR, got denied each one, but they
Got beat out in Richmond.
I know, Charlie. Thank you.
I won't say bye.
Okay, anyway, moving on here. Before we get on, I know Preston has some topics here he wants to talk about. Favorite moment that you guys have of Auto Club? What's your top memory of Auto Club?
Bubba Wallace didn't win.
Okay. He hasn't won Daytona either. That's not my favorite memory of Daytona.
Giggity.
Okay, so what's your favorite memory of Auto Club Speedway? Before we move on to Preston's topics that he wants to bring up here.
I don't think I have one, really.
The first race, okay, I'll tell you this. The first race I ever watched in Auto Club was 2001. Rusty Wallace won on Dale Earnhardt's birthday. And, of course, everybody was making a big deal on that day.
Krusty Wallace.
Old Rusty Wallace won.
Krusty.
But I would have to say that following year, and I believe his 7th start, Jimmy Johnson scored his first career victory at Auto Club Speedway.
Rigged.
And I think, no, shut up, Charlie. It's not rigged. Or else.
He's from California.
Well, so's Kyle Larson, but he didn't win.
Oh, see? Everybody likes Jimmy Johnson.
Okay. Well, I don't think that was the case, but we'll take it as it is. But what were your guys' favorite memories? Or do you have one? If you don't have one, that's okay.
I don't reckon I have one. I hate to say it, but I'm honestly looking forward to if they do reconfigure the track to a short track.
If they don't, if this ends up sinking down like Preston's theory is, I want them to bring Rockingham back. That's all I'm going to say.
And I'd be perfectly fine with that.
I think everybody would be.
What?
Or them. What is it? Them keeping North Wilkesboro for the All-Star. So if they bring North Wilkesboro back for a regular point series race, if they do not keep
Auto Club.
So
yeah,
I'd be fine with that. But Auto Club in the past, up until stage racing and stuff like that, has always turned into let's see how far we could go on fuel.
I like those races. I like
that. I love fuel strategy races.
This is stupid. We're gonna go to fuel. Yeah.
Well,
I'm just gonna coast. Oh wait, here we go. I'm gonna coast.
I love fuel strategy races. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Those are some of the best.
This is why it should go to short track. This is why we're
okay. Now I'm gonna throw this out there. I bet
this is why there's no fans in the West Coast. This is why all the short tracks are in the East Coast.
I bet LA Coliseum becomes a points race before North Wilkesboro ever will again. Bet
it's a short track.
Old.
I bet.
Because
guess what? Fontana's out of the picture now. LA Coliseum, here we come. Points race.
It's a short track.
There's no way they're going to make a point.
They're going to abandon Fontana's 0.67 mile short track for LA Coliseum.
For a
you
quarter
heard
mile.
it here first.
Okay. I'll believe it when I see it.
Fontana, yeah, exactly. Fontana was going to be a 0.67 mile track. They're going to abandon it at LA Coliseum. Get ready. Points
So
racing.
you're going to abandon a little over a half a mile track for a quarter mile track. It'll be chaos. There is no way.
Yes. Yep.
There's
Yep.
no way.
Yes, I bet. I bet you NASCAR will do that. I bet it.
I will bet against that 100%.
Take it down on this
No.
episode recording of Tuesday, February the 28th of 2023. Okay, you heard it here first.
Absolutely not, Preston. No way does LA Coliseum become a point-sparing race. I disagree with that. That's never going to happen.
Oh, buddy, it's coming.
No.
I don't want to see it
bet.
either, but it's coming.
I bet Formula One still doesn't take fuel.
Well, no, they don't. Anyway.
I know. I'm just saying if we're making bets. Oh, we're making stupid bets. Okay, never mind.
Okay. So Charlie's Charlie's forgotten how the show works apparently, but it's okay. He's been gone a couple weeks. Okay, Preston, you have some stuff you bring up.
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it, buddy.
I would like to get everybody's take, and this was a pretty big talk about topic after Daytona. The NASCAR overtime rules. What does everybody think? Should they be altered? Should they go away? What does everybody think?
I think the last thing you want to do as a fan sitting in the stands after paying tickets, paying for a hotel or campground, food, drinks, pretty much the whole weekend there at Daytona or any racetrack is to see a race end under caution. And I think the promoters know that, whether it's Indy, Formula One, NASCAR, none of those promoters up there in the box want to see a race end under caution. I was there at Pocono, I should say, for the Indy Car race, and it ended under caution. Big disappointment. Green, white checkers are good and bad. They give a chance for the race to end under green. However, like we saw this past fall at Talladega, it ran green all the way, and the last thing you want to see with 2 to go is a caution to slow everything down. And sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The last thing anybody wants to see is a race under caution. That being said, the unlimited overtime rules are kind of crazy at super speedways. Super speedways might need to do something different here. I know in the past there was this line on the backstretch, and if they didn't cross that line, the race would re-rack and start it again. But if they pass that line, okay, you've already passed the point of no-go, kind of like taking the white flag. The next flag ends it, whether it's a caution or the checkered flag. It's tough to say with all certainty because each track is different. You could get away with that you could get away with a lot more on a road course than you can a Martinsville, Bristol. You could get away with a lot more on a track like Charlotte than you can at Talladega, where there's always, for the most part, more than one car involved. It's tough to say what needs to be changed, what doesn't. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are, because I know you brought this up on listening to a few radio shows on this, but I think it's fine the way it is. It does the job.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, I'm good with the way it is. A lot of these guys with the caution lights are, pretty quick on, clicking that dang yellow light button. So now the super speedways are a little bit different. So, and it all depends on where the wreck happens at. So, if you take the green flag, you come back to the white flag, it happens going into one. I'm fine with not throwing if it happens going into one, I'm fine with not throwing the yellow until a certain point down the back straightaway. But at the same time, that that throws reason into, oh well, they wanted this person to win. So I, I I'm with Matt. Hey, keep it the way it is. So that way there's no ifs, ands, or buts. But if that's the case, then at super speedways, as long as the track is clear, we're just going to race back to the dang flag. So, but we all know NASCAR's not going to do that. So let's just keep it the way it is and be done.
Yeah, this really all started when they froze the field on their caution. When the caution came out, the field is frozen. No more racing back to the line.
Yep.
In 2020, I was at Daytona and I saw an accident going into turn 1, and then an accident coming off of turn 4 prior to the Ryan Newman crash, and they raced all the way back. This year, however, there was a big crash going into turn 1 and turn 2. And above all, safety has to be paramount. If multiple cars are involved, and Kyle Larson went head on into the wall, we need to make sure he's okay. That means we need to get safety crews out there right away. So I don't think NASCAR throwing the caution was necessarily a bad thing. Did I want to see go down to the wire with Logano and Stenhouse Jr. and all those guys? Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to see a good finish, and I think Daytona did deliver on that. However, I don't think anything needs to be done to jeopardize safety, and I think that's the reason why we don't race back to the flag, the caution flag. That is, the field is frozen, so safety crews can get out there. It's just one of those things. I don't know what can be done any different, so I say don't change it, leave it alone. What do you think? What do you think, Preston?
I think it can be altered a little bit, in my opinion. I think that we should not have unlimited attempts at green, white checkers. If you're just one.
Just one. Okay.
I think, yes, just one. I think that at places like, especially super speedways, where it's just inviting drivers to become way more aggressive, and we'll just keep re-racking it, and everyone's going to keep crashing their cars. Because let's be real. When you know it's time to go, everybody knows it's time to go, and everyone's knocking each other out of the way, and then we're going to get in an accident. And I'm sure some guys in the back are like, okay, well, I can probably just hang out a little bit longer. It'll probably happen again. Then I'll just get closer to the front of the field. I mean,
Okay.
I understand that we have to change with the times. But, I mean, I know we have to change with the times. And people cannot people can't take, oh, it's going to enter the caution, what a lame race. Okay, well, you know what? That's just the way it goes sometimes. I'm not trying to compare it to other racing sports, like with Formula F1. It will enter a caution, but
it will. Yep.
I mean, so let's be real. It used to be like that in NASCAR.
The safety car.
I mean, it's. I don't know. Maybe it's just.
No, yeah, you're right.
Like Kyle Busch brought it up in the interview. Kyle Busch brought it up in the interview at Daytona. If it was 1998, he would have won.
Well, yeah,
I know, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate to this too. So you're saying we should have unlimited, or no, we should not have.
Preston's saying have one attempt at a green, white checkered, and I'm with that. I'm with having a cap on it, maybe 1, 2. Because Preston's right. I mean, even at a short track, you're going to see people do crazy things because, man, the field's bunched up, and the only really time to get a position is on the start. You could say you could use any racetrack as an example for that one. If you all be all told.
And I get that. But at the same time, people are going to push their stuff so far thinking that you said super speedways with people laying in the back thinking, hey, if I just lay back here, I got a chance of winning this thing because we got unlimited restarts. They're going to wreck. All right. So nobody's going to, everybody's pushing their stuff that far on all these restarts. If you go to just one restart, I think that's just enticing it that much worse or that much more, that much worse. Whew, that was way improper.
Yeah, I kind of see that point. I see both points actually.
So I think if you go to unlimited restarts, it's like, hey, I gotta save it. I gotta wait to just the right time at just the right second to try and win this, as opposed to if this is the last restart, I gotta go. All right, hey, we got to go. Oh man, we wrecked out. Now there's going to be another restart. Hey, the 30th place car is probably going to win this thing now.
I can see both sides to that. I could see Preston's side. I could see your side. Be all honesty, I mean, I'm curious to hear what people said. I'm sure Preston has remembered a couple of them, wrote them down right there. I say keep it the way it is, because either way you're going to get stuff. But I am okay with having a cap on it. Maybe not one, but maybe three.
I think 3 would be a good number. If you're going to put a cap on it, I would say 3.
Right. It used to be 3, I think, if I remember correctly, and I'm pretty sure, I'm confident in saying that 3 used to be the number, but then they took it away because, hey, fans don't, and promoters and track owners and NASCAR,
they want to see it finish.
They want to see it finish under green, and in a green white checkered will almost guarantee an exciting finish. Yep. People will talk about the finish. But and you got anything more on that, Preston? I mean, to that?
No, I just wanted to see. I just wanted to hear everybody's talking points. I mean, you make a good point, but I'll stick to mine. I'm just gonna say 1.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's not forget here before we go on to start wrapping up the show, the Xfinity Series. John Hunter Nemechek winning that race at Auto Club Speedway. Good win for him. Allgaier finishing 3rd. It looked like a decent race. I listened to a lot of these races, both of these races on the radio, and I found it more entertaining than listening to it or watching it on TV. And it sounds like Clint Boyer going to really deliver this past weekend, just based on social media posts. But yeah, John Hunter Nemechek winning. Junior Motorsports looking good up there in the Xfinity Series. Nothing much more to say about that one, if you ask me, gentlemen. You guys, before we continue on, Formula One preview. Preston, Formula One's coming up this weekend. Your wheelhouse. I'm excited about that. Just like I know you are. Who's the team to watch out for other than Scuderia Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull? Who's the team out there?
I think one of the teams that's actually got a big hype going right now ever since preseason testing. I don't think I could probably say Haas, honestly. Aston Martin has apparently made some pretty big gains from last season's testing.
Aston Martin, really? Wow.
So there's a lot of hype surrounding them right now. Lance Stroll may not race this weekend due to an accident that happened a few weeks ago, so they may throw in their reserve driver. But
you may not make a lot of people
are saying Aston Martin's turned some things around technically. So we'll wait and see. I mean, so I found something interesting. There was a graphic that was put out there that had showed all 10 teams and who had gained the most time from testing from last year, and Williams was number 1. They gained almost 2.5 seconds from testing from last year. Does that mean that they're caught up with everybody? No, they're not.
No.
Nah, they're only 20
but they're
seconds
a little
behind Vettel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a little bit closer now. I did look and see. So I think it was day 1 of testing. Max Verstappen did have the fastest lap, but Aston Martin was second with Fernando Alonso. So, I mean, it's everybody's got their cars set differently. That's why you see all these different designs with different things. You know, people will have more drags.
You know, I
Some
did
don't.
see a
Between
picture.
Aston Martin and I think there's a lot of hype with Ferrari as well.
I saw a picture of Ferrari's aero, whatever they're called, that they had all over the car. Man, Ferrari's or F1 it's probably not just Ferrari, but F1's a little pedo, I guess you would call them. Is what NASCAR calls it. They're a little pedo.
Yeah.
They measure aero with and stuff.
Measure airspeed. Yeah.
Yeah, man, those things are wicked looking. I mean, they're all over the place on an F1 car. They almost look like a solar system model that you would take in like the 8th grade.
Yeah, it's actually very it's very with things like that, and then they have the paint that they that special paint that they put on the cars that shows them the aerodynamics. Yeah, have you ever seen it, Matt? You know, like on the wing. I don't know if you've ever seen it in testing before on the wings. You see like the green looking neon stuff. It's actually pretty. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I have that on my Dodge.
This guy. Formula One, I'm definitely looking.
Yeah,
that's why I get like 19.5 miles per gallon.
Here's my expectation. Here's my preview for Formula One. Here, I don't want to see it wrapped up with 5 races to go, whether it's Verstappen, Hamilton, I don't care. I don't want to see the championship wrapped up.
Well, we might as well not even cover it.
No, we're going to cover it. I want to see a good racing season, but I want to see a team in there. And here I go again, complaining. I mean, I'm happy to see Mercedes not on top anymore, but I'm now Red Bull's on top. I want them off the top, but replaced with someone other than Mercedes. I want a good season. I'm hoping it's a good season.
Haas.
No, Haas. As much as I want Haas to do well, they're not going to do well in Formula One.
Americans.
They're not going to do well.
Americans.
Preston,
they had no business in the F1.
Agree with me. Here, Preston would agree with me. Haas had a good intentions going into Formula One, bringing an American team back in. But here's what I'm coming back to this when I talk about Haas here. But their bark is worse than their bite, and they haven't performed one. They haven't had one season in one. Okay, I'm going to mute you, Charlie. Stop it.
They're just the terrible thing to think about with Haas is that they were one of those teams that is coming into a sport almost probably you can compare it to like NASCAR, coming into a sport where you have teams like a Red Bull and Mercedes who are already established, who have got tons of sponsorship, the funding, whatever you want to call it. I mean, hey, there was a picture that was put out on social media. Haas's pit lane box, where all the engineers and everybody sit.
Like 3 seats.
It's 3 seats now because it's saving them $250,000.
Yep.
That I guess they're going to put back into the development of the car and whatnot. I think Haas will move up a little bit. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head where they finished last year in terms of team standings, but I think they can earn more points than they did last year because not only do they have Kevin Magnussen coming back, but they've got Nico Hülkenberg, the Hulk, driving for them now, and I really like Nico. I think he's a good fit for them. I think he's somebody that they can bring in that will help them kind of try and propel them back forward a little bit more. A few years ago, back in the sport, I think it was 2018, 19, they were not that bad. They weren't. No. And then they just kind of fell off. They've been kind of riding the back ever since. But
It isn't one thing; it's a whole combination of things. But here's what
But
I'm
now,
looking
now
for.
to Charlie's point, or well, to your point, but to Charlie's point, how you say you don't want it to be wrapped up, 4 or 5 races before the end of the
Mhm.
season. I know a way they can fix that, and Charlie alluded on it before. Everybody should get points.
Yeah.
First through
Well,
20th
I
should get
mean,
points. So that would make it a heck of a lot closer.
They should go to the American point system.
okay, stop it, Charlie. Oh my goodness. Okay, here's my thing I'm looking forward to, and I don't know if I think it's going to be in the 2024 season, Preston. I'm sure you saw it as well. Ford coming back into Formula One. That
I
should be
think
interesting.
I think it will be 24, 25. I can't quite remember. There was a lot behind all of that too as well.
I'm looking forward to that. That's further down the line here, but Formula One back in swing this weekend. We're going to give you the race start times right now. Craftsman Truck Series starting this weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Friday, March 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FS1. The Xfinity Series Saturday, March 4th, which is my wife's birthday,
My
4:30
boo.
Eastern Standard Time on FS1. And the Cup Series racing from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway Sunday, March 5th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. And the Formula One Grand Prix kicking off in Bahrain Sunday, March 5th at 10 a.m. So right before the NASCAR race, set your DVRs. Should be a fun race. Real quick before we get into our final thoughts, gentlemen, and this week in NASCAR and our updated fantasy point standings. Winners for the Formula One Grand Prix, Truck Race, Xfinity, and Cup Race. So we start off with Preston.
Formula One Grand Bahrain. I don't want to go easy here and say
You're
Max
gonna.
Verstappen,
It's
but
easy to.
Charles Leclerc.
Oh, good pick there. What about you, Charlie? Who do you have this weekend? Or you want?
Yeah, I'm going easy. Verstappen.
Okay, first.
Austin's also going easy. Verstappen.
Okay, that's okay there. I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I might be kicking myself here.
Us.
No,
Too hot.
Alonso. I think Alonso might get it done here. My secondary pick might have been George Russell because I think he's the future of the sport right there. Truck Series at Las Vegas. Who do we have?
Only because his teammate took him out at Daytona because he's a privileged, over entitled, egotistical prick. M-Finger gets it done at Vegas.
Infinger gets it done. Okay. Infinger for trucks for Charlie. What about you, Preston?
Ty Majeski.
Majeski, and I'm going to go with the guy riding off the coattails of that Daytona finish. Zane Smith goes 2 for 2 and just started the 2023 campaign.
It's not a bad pick.
Xfinity Series, I'm going to have to go with Justin Allgaier. I always pick him, but I really like Justin Allgaier, especially at mile and a half. Charlie Austin,
He's
Xfinity.
strong. Go ahead with your pick.
Preston.
Oh, I'm sorry. Austin Hill.
I like that.
All right. Didn't see that one coming.
You just straight up the opposite, or kind of the same thing what I did with the Truck Series, but okay, we'll give you a pass, Preston, because I love it. All right.
You know what? I'm going to stick with my pick for the past 2 Xfinity races. Jones. He has had the crappiest luck at his junior motorsports debuts. At California and Daytona. So, Daytona being he got wrecked by Sam Mayer, his teammate. So,
All right, Brandon Jones right there. And now the
Yep.
Cup Series race there from Las Vegas. Start off with Preston.
Joey Logano.
All right, Logano. I'm going to go with Larson to bring home the W there in Las Vegas. And finally, Charlie.
back-to-back Bush. BBB.
All right, fine. Kyle Busch gets it done there for Charlie. Gentlemen, anything else before we wrap up this week's episode?
I'm pretty sure it's your birthday, is it not?
It is my birthday, actually.
Today?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's my birthday. I appreciate that.
What?
37.
Yep.
I could do a good minion today with my dang sinuses.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem. Happy
My
birthday, buddy.
I appreciate that, man. Really do.
Before we do move on to everything, the closing and everything, I just want to throw it out there that I think
Happy birthday
No,
the
okay.
big
to you.
Okay, go ahead, Preston.
I think the big winners from this weekend would have to be RCR,
You.
and I think the
I'm trying to mute him. It's not winning.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, buddy. Okay.
I would like to touch on that at how crappy it seems to be a start of the year for 2311.
Well, we're virtual, so you can't really touch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2311 isn't having the best start of the year.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick ain't really the hype
I think Tyler Reddick's just running into some bad luck right now.
everybody thought he was he?
So, well, not only is Tyler Reddick running into battle luck, Bubba Wallace is too.
Oh, you mean? Never mind. I'll stop there.
There you go, buddy.
I have self-control.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think 2311 is having a bad start to the year. Maybe they'll flip it around here in Vegas. That is
Did I do that out loud?
if Bubba Wallace doesn't wreck Kyle Larson again.
Ooh.
Boy, that happened in Kansas, but same track.
I kind of hope Kyle Larson wrecks Wallace and then beats the shit out of him.
First of all, watch your swearing, Charlie. Second of all,
I said shit.
okay, no, you didn't. Second of all, Kyle Larson's way above that. He's a better person than that. So
He is.
all right. Anything else before we wrap up today's episode, gentlemen?
Nope.
Other than I'm getting my butt whooped fantasy stands.
All right. Well,
now.
let's get our
all because I didn't get my card last year.
all right. Let's get into our final thoughts here. Before we wrap up today's episode, I wanted to remind everyone out there about a partner that has been with Ramblin' About Racing since we were called In the Marbles Weekly Racing Podcast and since we were on the Unhinged Sports Network, and that is Fanatics. Fanatics is your one-stop shop for everything NASCAR, for your favorite drivers' t-shirts, hoodies, hats, die-cast, and so much more. But it isn't just NASCAR. I get all my Alabama Crimson Tide gear from there, as well as my Washington Capitals gear there as well. One-stop shop for everything you need, any type of sport you need. Links can be found under the sponsor tab at ramblinaboutracing.com, as well as under the podcast description and YouTube description, depending on whether you're watching or listening to Ramblin' About Racing. Head over there right now and get your favorite sports gear need for this upcoming season.
White flag, white flag. White flag, white flag. White flag. One lap to go. One lap right here.
Final thoughts on this week's episode of Ramblin' About Racing. If you stuck with us this long, I really do appreciate you taking the time to stick with us because, well, it is a birthday. It is a celebration. I've had my few, and Charlie's clearly had his few.
Yeah.
And then Charlie.
Plus, I only keep up with Caroline's birthday. I don't really keep up with your birthday.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so final thoughts here on this week's episode of Ramblin' About Racing. Pick up my book of knowledge right here. my NASCAR complete history guide. And I'm going to leave it up to Preston here. Should we do fantasy standings or this week in NASCAR?
Let's hit this week in NASCAR first.
This week in NASCAR, it is, buddy. We go back to February 28th, 1971. AJ Foyt drives the Wood Brothers Mercury to a victory in a 500-miler at New Ontario Motor Speedway. Foyt goes down on the record books as winning the 1000th NASCAR Winston Cup Grand National Race. That happened on this date, actually, February 28th, 1971. And Charlie, we got a lot of new players in the fantasy league standings.
Man, do we?
You have it.
We went from I
think 13 to 16 active players. Now, wait. Before we get into that, Preston, Maples. What's going on with Maples?
Oh, I have no idea. Why? Is he not in there anymore?
Maple.
He's not in the league anymore. He doesn't follow us on Twitter anymore. What's the deal with Maples?
Well, we got two people that hadn't even done anything with.
Oh, okay.
We got Zeke Leaf 7 and Summers Racing that hadn't done anything, period.
All right. Well, maybe 2 haven't participated, but compared to last year where 4 or 5 didn't participate, we're doing pretty good this season. So go ahead, Charlie. Read off the updated fantasy standings after this weekend's race at Auto Club Speedway.
All right. Let's start from the bottom. 14th is Jeff Reeves with 190. This was his first race. He didn't get Daytona. So,
all right.
He's coming in pretty strong.
He is.
He had help from Austin. They were at a race this weekend together, so whatever. DraftKings research lineup, whoever that is, 231. I'm not doing too hot, mainly because I'm still a little sour about not getting the gift card from last year, but whatever.
Now, Preston, you were here at the start of this racing series and this fantasy league. Did we not say even at the start that hosts aren't eligible for this card?
Yeah, that wasn't made aware to me though before I joined the league. Over. So yeah,
you can complain all you want. It's not going to change anything, Charlie.
It wasn't before I signed on in my contract. There's wasn't made aware in my contract.
There's no contract. Let's just be perfectly clear.
Anyway, sitting 12th right now is me. Sitting 11th is Austin. Super Sumo is 10th. Sitting 9th, beating her husband's butt is Austin's wife.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Female in there. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, oops. Hang on.
Oh, Charlie.
That's my bad. Hang on. League. Here we go. Smoking Woody is 8th. Matt 7th. B9 3. 6th. SMR Operations 5.
Good job, Preston.
Yep. Good job. You won't beat it wrong. 4th, the Sports Stove.
He's another podcast on the Belly Up Sports Network.
Gotcha. 3rd is S Blades. 2nd is Money Team Move Rovers.
Don't know who
That's
they
my
are.
Brother. That's my brother.
Nice. Okay. And who's leading the league out of Auto Club there, Preston?
Matt Camper.
Oh, our one and only Patreon. Matt Camper.
Camper.
The anchor that holds out.
Won't be there long. I will run you down after this week.
I just want to throw it out there that I got 2 out of 2 picks right over the weekend in terms of winners.
You did. Well done, Preston.
It did not
I think I may just stay in the top 5 a little bit longer than you think.
I think I'm going to bump up there myself. I had a good run at Daytona. I had a good run at Auto Club. Las Vegas should be no different. Should be a lot of fun. But gentlemen, anything else before we wrap it up here? Really do appreciate it. Again, if you stuck around here, again, if you were here for the Willie T. Rib interview, that had to be delayed. We will make sure to get him on at some point in season 5. Really want to talk to him, hear about his racing career and his life story. But gentlemen, anything else before we wrap it up here?
I'm good, buddy.
Nope.
All right, Preston. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on this episode of Ramblin' About Racing. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're here on YouTube or your regular podcast platform. Really do appreciate it. I'd like to take this time to thank our partners for the show, Devos Outdoor Lighting, Extreme Sim Racing Fanatics, and Stand Up to Cancer for all they do, not only for us here at Ramblin' About Racing, for what they do for Belly Up Sports as well. Make sure to head over to ramblinaboutracing.com to links to all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, for the latest and greatest in the world of auto racing and to see what's going on in our lives as well. For Charlie Hercus, Chuck 8384, Preston Lood, P_Luda, Austin Reeves, Austin_Reeves 6. I'm Matt Beamer, mbeamer22 on Twitter. All of those on Twitter, as a matter of fact. Stay safe, and we'll see you after Las Vegas and Bahrain.